in my dining room. When COVID hit in March, everything went virtual and I didn't quite know what to do. And so my husband, at first I taught, you'll see some videos of me in my kitchen because my pantry door is actually a chalkboard. And so some of the videos I made last spring when I was using my chalkboard door. And then I upgraded this summer and we took down all of the artwork that was in my dining room and we went out and my husband drilled this tile board into the wall so that I could teach and make some videos. I understand there's lots of glare. There's just only so many places I can find with a whiteboard that doesn't have that reflection. So when I use my classroom at Peoria, there's all the fluorescent lighting and the reflection is horrible. And then here, I try to time it at just the right time, but I thought it was important for you to see me. And this is a pretty straightforward, quick little introduction to graphing. And then the remainder of the chapter I did on my slate. The upside is that I can send that PDF out to you in advance, and then you can print it if you want, and then just fill in the pieces. This chapter has a ton of graphing, so my graphing is going to be a little more accurate, doing it actually on a graph with my slate than just hand drawing up here on the whiteboard. But on the flip side, you don't get any personal connection to me and get like a feel of any my style or any corny jokes I might make or mistakes I might make, which there are several throughout the chapter as I'm going through and I just accidentally write down a number incorrectly. So chapter 3, like I said, has to do with graphing. I know that I checked the video. I don't think you can see this word right here very well. It just so happens that I have a skylight that's hitting right there. It just says graphing. But the most important piece of this intro is just learning the coordinate grid. And so again, pause the video at any time and take some notes if you are unfamiliar with this. I'll stand out of the camera real quick for you to pause. And so this is called the coordinate grid. We've got the x-axis here, so that is a word that you need to be familiar with. It is this line right here. Let's see if I can do this without goofing it up. And here we have the y-axis, and it is this vertical piece right here. And then where the two axes cross, that dot right there, it has the coordinate 0, 0, and it's known as the origin. It's also important just to know and have an understanding of the quadrants. I don't know that it comes up very often throughout the rest of the course, but it's one of those things you're expected to know. So over here we have quadrant 1, and then it goes in reverse, counterclockwise order, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. And as we graph, it's important to think some of this is a little bit of intuition because we either need to make choices as to whether we go to the left or to the right, whether we go up or down. And so as we travel along the x-axis, as we go this way, numbers are getting larger, and this is our positive direction here. As we go this way, our numbers are getting smaller, just like you've seen with any regular old number line. Okay, a two-dimensional or a one-dimensional number line. And then for the y-axis, think about which is more logical. Do you think up being positive or up being negative is more logical? And hopefully most of us would say, well, gosh, up is probably a positive direction when you think of a plane up in the sky or something like that. And then if you dig a hole in the ground, you think of maybe that being a negative direction. So as we travel up, our numbers get larger, and when we travel down, our numbers get smaller. And we are going to have one x and one y for each point. So this is called here, we separate it with a comma, and then we put parentheses around it. It's called a coordinate, and it's also known as an ordered pair. it goes alphabetical, so X goes first, comma, Y. When we look at the X, we make a choice of either going left and right, and then when we look at Y, we make a choice of whether or not we travel up or down. So if we're in quadrant 1, our X is going to be positive because we've had to travel to the right, and our Y will be positive. So quadrant 1, both the X and the Y are positive. Again, not something you're tested on, just pointing out a little fact. In quadrant 2, we've gone to the left and we've gone up, so X will be negative and Y will be positive. Down here in quadrant 3, you would anticipate both of your coordinates being negative because you would go to the left and then down. And over here in quadrant 4, you would go to the right and then down, so the X coordinate will be positive and the Y coordinate will be negative. So let's take this idea and do just a little bit of graphing over here. So let's graph the point 2, 4. Both are positive. So we're going to go right 2, up 4. Right 2, up 4. And I can't get as accurate as when I use my slate, but I think for some of these basic points, you get the idea. Let's skip this one just a second. Let's do this one. We'll skip the ones with the zeros on it for just a sec. So here is negative 3, 1. So the first coordinate, I have to make that choice of whether or not I go left or right. Since this is a negative 3, I would go left 1, left 2, left 3, and then up 1. And this is the point negative 3, 1. Back here, if I have negative 1, negative 6, here is a negative 1, left 1, down 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you go ahead and put your dot. And then I have a few points that are going to lie right on this X or Y axis. So this is the first one. If you think, and sometimes these are harder, so the first coordinate is 0. This is the coordinate that tells us to go left or right. And what it's saying at 0 is don't do either. Stay right here. Don't go right, don't go to the left, stay at 0. And then go down 6. So down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This would be the point 0, negative 6. If the Y coordinate is 0, then we look at whether or not we go left or right first. We go negative 2, which means I would go left 2. And then the Y value being 0, usually that would be our up or down direction. Because it's 0, it's telling us don't do either. Don't go up, don't go down, just stay where you are. So negative 2, 0. Everything else in this unit builds from this graphing. We talk about lines. If you are coming to my class with some prior experience, we talk about slope and y equals mx plus b and intercepts. We look at some word problems here. We also do some application problems in chapter 7 where I review a lot of this stuff. Just because with the 120 class that I'm used to teaching, that is a part of that. They don't do chapter 3, they only do chapter 7. So you'll see some repeats. So if you need a little extra examples or things like that, you'll see this mostly again in chapter 7. So take care. Thanks for watching. As always, as you move through chapter 3, reach out through text or emails. Texts are immediate. Emails, I really attempt to check both GCC and Canvas once a day. But if I check at 11 a.m. and you send me a message through Canvas at noon, I might not see it until the following day, whereas texting is a little bit quicker. Even if you write something really long through email and then you just text me, hey, when you have a second, I emailed you, then that kind of gives me a heads up that I need to go log in and check that out. So take care, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Bye-bye.